Hey, Exit family, this is Stan Bishop, one of the Exit Realty Mindset trainers for Exit Realty International.
Hi, this is Key, mindset trainer with Exit Realty and with my friend Stan.
Hey, I wanted to put together a quick video with my friend Key, and we wanted to give you some information during this current situation that we're all dealing with as brokers, as agents, and we thought the best way to deliver this message is through this video. So through this video, these are some ideas that we as brokers and agents can implement immediately and get us in the right mindset and get us out of what we're dealing with today with all the crisis going on, with the news, with all the information. So first, I'd like to talk about a model, and it's called the rational decision-making process. It's a model that a lot of agencies use, especially when there's crisis in place, that can help them mitigate what's going on in the business and how to get through whatever they're dealing with. Key, you're very grounded yourself, and please, chime in where you feel is necessary. But with the rational decision-making process, the first thing to do is to understand the situation. As brokers, as agents, we're all going through a different situation. As customers, they're going through their own situation. So the first thing that we as brokers, as agents, need to do is understand the situation we're going through. So that's the first thing. And from there, you can define the problem. So right now, if the problem is you're facing lack of business, if you're facing financial expenses that you can't pay, if you're facing lack of listings, that's the problem, and that's what we need to define what we're dealing with at the time. From there, we want to define what's the objectives. What do we need to do to overcome that problem? So for me as a broker, if I'm coaching the broker specifically, one of the objectives is that you're able to weather the next 30, 60 days. Key for agents, what would you say the objectives for them to be?
Well, to stay calm. Calmness is your friend. There's nothing better than it. If you're freaking out and your customers are freaking out, you're making the situation worse. So being calm, working on your mindset is going to be a crucial aspect of being able to weather this challenge we're going through. And it is a challenge, Stan. It is challenging. No one is denying that this is happening. But this is not a housing crisis. This is not a financial crisis in the traditional sense of liquidity. It is a health and economic crisis. So staying calm and working on your mindset, like reading books. Reading a good book can get your mindset in the right place. Watching too much TV, like you said, may actually heighten your anxiety.
So staying glued to the news probably isn't the best, thing to do to overcome this problem or defining the objective. So defining the objective for me as a broker is, I need to make sure that I have enough liquidity. I have the stay power for the next 30 to 60 days to be able to weather whatever this health crisis that we're dealing with right now. Next is diagnosing the problem. So once we define the objectives and we diagnose the problem, what we're dealing with, from there we can start to develop alternatives. For me as a broker, alternatives to what I'm dealing with from a financial side, there's been situations where employees are working from home, so you're still able to be productive, but you're not going to the office. So that might be an alternative to having all your employees and customers coming in, having virtual trainings in place where you're able to still conduct normal business and you're still able to hold trainings and still help agents for what they need to do is a good alternative to doing nothing. From an agent perspective, what would you say?
Skill mastery. You just said it. You just nailed it. This is the time to get our skills in the right place. Working our scripts. Because remember, we're going to be talking to people. We want to be talking to people. This is the time to do it. So mastering our scripts, working virtually together as groups. We don't have to be in the same office, but we could actually get our, that listing presentation you've been thinking about putting together. It's the time to do it. Remember that blog and that video channel with YouTube you were looking to put together? This is the time to do it. There is so much work to do to get us ready to service our clients. I truly believe we need to focus on skills.
So as a broker, maybe putting the list together of agents that you wanted to recruit, now's the time. If you didn't have the time before, now's the time to do that. If you're a broker looking at acquisitions and mergers, now's the time to define who might be the best solution and what's the follow-up system to do that. So again, develop alternatives. Next is to evaluate the alternatives. Which alternative makes the most sense? Should I do A, B, C? Should I do the first one first, the second one? Should I do all three? So evaluate each alternative and choose the best alternative from there. Next, after you've chosen the best alternative, it's important that we implement it. It's not just choosing it, it's actually implementing it. And the best way to implement it is coming up with a step-by-step process. You know, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, this is what I'm going to do to implement that. Key, what would you say relative to that?
I like to talk, I'm a mathematician. My background is mathematics. Numbers matter. So just to give people a sense, 2018, 2019, we did 5.34 million listings in the United States. Over the last 10 years, if you average the last 10 years, we were doing about 5 million listings a year on average. The worst housing crisis we've ever experienced, ever. 2007, 2008, 2006, that period, 2009, we only went down to 4.5 million. I want people to realize we're not falling off a cliff. Yes, there will be some pullback. The projection was we're 5.5 million this year. We're going to end up doing 5.2, maybe 5.1. But we're not going to fall off the cliff. Therefore, some of our sellers are right now hesitating. And that's normal. They're scared. They don't know, is this the right time to do it? But they're coming. And when they're coming, we need to be ready for them. So basically think of the spring as being pushed by a couple of months, well, by 6 weeks. And we need to be ready to help those people who are going to list because they're going to list.
And I can go back to my own personal experience in running a brokerage. 2007, 2008, was very impactful in Florida. That was actually one of the best opportunities for me personally because there was a lot of brokers who were struggling, who had a high overhead expenses. And as a growing brokerage and as a nimble brokerage, we were able to provide solutions for them through acquisitions and mergers. So this might be an opportunity both for agents, both for brokers to look and see, okay, what can I do right now personally and way of growing my business. I love the fact that you're talking about organizing, spring cleaning, getting things in place, doing the things you haven't done. That's a positive. A negative is doing nothing. A negative is just sitting there watching the news and worrying about what's going on. Don't do that. If you do anything, listen to what Keith's saying, listen to what I'm saying, come up with a plan, define the situation, come up with alternatives, evaluate the alternatives, track what you're doing, and you will get past this. This is not final. This is just a moment. I'm confident that there's going to be opportunities that come out of this situation, both positive and that you want to look at those situations to take advantage of it. If you have the stay power, for brokers, there's a lot of assistance money coming out. There's already been announcements for personal small business loans with no interest. Remember though, when you're getting loans, guess what? You still have to pay them back. Even though they're interest free, you still have to pay them back. I've talked to a couple of brokers who just need enough for the next 30 days to get by. A home equity line with no closing costs and very low rates right now might be that alternative for you versus going through the small business loan. So search out there, find those alternatives. This is not final. We will move past this. I agree 100% with Key that we might see a little pullback in the transaction count, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a dive here. Be focused on what is the smart, what's smart to do. And again, to me, it is understanding the problem, defining what the problem is, coming up with alternatives, and then implementing them.
I agree. Wise words. This is not the time for us as professionals to be frozen. We need to be calm, collected, and engaged. Engage in our client. Let them talk to you. I'm telling you, if they talk to you now and they share their fears with you, they will remember how calm and professional you were. And guess what? That's going to serve you right in the future.
Agreed, 100%. Another thing I want to really point out is being part of Exit does give you some advantages than other brokerages and other franchises. One example is A lot of agents this week, because of the delay, maybe didn't have a closing. I know personally I didn't have a closing, but I still actually got paid through residual. So one of the big benefits of being part of Exit is you do have this residual income that is going to be a third source of income that a lot of agents and brokers do not have. And I go back to the recession time, at least in Florida, the residual income was one of the big components in the acquisitions for me as a broker and looking at acquiring other brokerages out there. So both as an agent and a broker, you know, we do have somewhat of an unfair competitive advantage to our competition relative specifically of how the exit formula works. Key, I think you probably see that a lot from the agents that you're working with that you're working with in the brokers.
I can tell you this. Here's what I hear. That residual check came at the right time. It was just when I needed it to pay my taxes, to pay my rent, to pay for my kids' medication. It seems to have a way to arrive at the right time.
So with that being said, guys, don't sit back and do nothing. Take this opportunity, get back to the fundamentals. If you're an agent, if you're a broker, what's gotten you to where you're at. Look at what value we have as a franchise and as being a part of the Exit family, and make sure that you're able to take advantage of that and share your message, your personal message. I think that's big to the real estate community to hear. You know, that the fact that if you're one of the ones that are still getting income, even though there might be closings not happening, that would be a big message to send out there. But I think, again, the message that I really want everyone to hear is don't do nothing. You know, the worst thing you can do is just sit there and do nothing. Turn off the news. It's all negative. It's not there to necessarily help you. I mean, definitely listen to the CDC, listen to WHO and all the ones that are out there that we do need to listen to. But let's go back to the fundamentals. Let's focus on, you know, being practical and responsible in this time, and understand that this crisis, like he said, is not a financial, it's not a housing crisis yet. At least it's a health crisis.
It is. So engage. It will pay off. You have no idea.
Agreed. Okay, again, this is Stan Bishop, one of Exit Realty's international trainers, and I'm here with my friend
Key, and I'm glad we were together. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.